The Miami Heat were the Eastern Conference's number one team this season. Believe it or not, the Heat were actually number one. Not Boston, not Milwaukee, and certainly not the Brooklyn Nets. But despite this, not many people are giving the Heat much of a chance at making it all the way. And with news that Joel Embiid has been ruled out indefinitely, which I did not know at the time of preparing for this video, this only makes the Heat's chances of making it all the way to the finals that more likely. But before we talk about the injury to Embiid and what that means going forward, this might be the best defensive team in the postseason. People are making parallels between this year's Boston Celtics and teams like the 04 Pistons, and don't get me wrong, they are a great defense. But the Heat are currently the number 2 ranked defense in the playoffs, and they managed that against a team that was second in offense during the regular season. Not to mention, the Heat were the number 4 ranked defense during the regular season, and did so with several crucial players missing several games. So I'm just putting it out there. When we continue to talk about the elite defense of the Boston Celtics, why are the Miami Heat not being brought up in the same conversation? Just doesn't make sense to me. I mean, just to sum up this dominance, Trae Young had one single-digit scoring game out of 76 games this regular season. In fact, he's had 3 of those in his last 2 full regular seasons. He had 2 in 5 games against the Heat, and had 1 where he scraped to 11 points. He nearly matched a total of 140 games in 5 playoff games. Trae Young is considered by some a generational offensive talent. The Heat made him look like a glorified Ish Smith out there. I mean, just watch this possession, where Trae is full court pressed by PJ Tucker, Clint Capella sets a screen to switch him onto Bam Adebayo, and then another screen is set by Bogdanovic to get him onto Jimmy Butler. Bam then hedges over to pressure the ball before it's kicked out to Bogdanovic, and a couple more good rotations end in a turnover. Or how about on this other possession where Trae switches onto Adebayo and again is unable to create separation before Bam forces the turnover, and that's exactly where we need to start. Because it's no secret that Bam Adebayo's ability to switch positions 1 through 5, along with the rim protection and defensive playmaking he provides, is the key to this Heat defense being as good as it is. And with the matchup against the 76ers and Joel Embiid looming, that is going to be more crucial than ever. But here's just another example of Bam and the Heat defense being so elite. Bam starts on Capella then gives the handoff to Trae, and with Gabe Vincent trailing Trae, PJ Tucker steps up into the empty space to avoid that open floater that Trae loves to get. He then kicks it out to John Collins. Bam tries to deflect the ball, but can't manage to do so. So he then instead stonewalls John Collins off the dribble, which results in a highly contested 3-point shot. Or here's another example, where Capella sets the screen for Herder, Bam immediately gets up in his space, and importantly again, PJ Tucker hedges over to prevent the kick out to John Collins. And he can do this because he knows Bam isn't getting beat off the dribble. And this is very key to note, because with teams that have bigs that are liabilities, help defense has to come over, and then all of a sudden there's an open 3-point shot. With Bam Adebayo, you don't need a help over on anyone. And that means that the Heat can play this kind of defense before it's eventually forced out of bounds with a deflection from Max Strus sliding over. Looking ahead to the Philadelphia matchup, I like it for Miami for a few different reasons. A lot of Philly's success over the course of the series against Toronto came from their ability to beat the likes of Gary Trent Jr. or Fred VanVleet off the dribble, who just didn't seem quite healthy. And this allowed the likes of Maxey and Harden, I'm talking about Game 6 Harden by the way, to get downhill and get to the rim. Trying to find those same matchups is going to be difficult for the 76ers, and this is Miami's best asset along with Bam Adebayo. They don't really have a weak link defensively. With the addition of Strus, Vincent, and Oladipo, who I will mention a little bit later because he is an absolute X factor. But all of these guys are both good guard defenders and also can shoot the ball and create on offense, so you're not as reliant on Duncan Robinson or even Tyler Hero if his offense isn't working. And on the other side of things for Toronto, they had a lot of success pressuring Embiid. And let's talk about Embiid for a second, because we don't know just how long he's going to be out, At the moment, it should be at least a couple of games, but if he does come back, I think the Heat have a blueprint to stop him. The Raptors had a lot of success throwing multiple bodies at him and forcing him into being a playmaker before scrambling and then forcing guys like Green and Thibault to make shots. In addition to this, the Heat also have a guy in Bam Adebayo who has kept Embiid to 14 points per game on 30% shooting their last two matchups. So when you combine this scrambling defense and the help defense you get from Jimmy Butler, Kyle Lowry, PJ Tucker, with Bam Adebayo and Embiid coming off an injury, I think it's safe to say I do not expect Joel Embiid to be at his best. But I think it's the other end of the floor where they could really miss him. In the first round series against Toronto, he was not very good defensively, but he still has a presence. He is a big guy, and Jimmy Butler really thrived against the Atlanta Hawks getting to the rim. In fact, he was second to only Giannis, averaging 30 points, 8 rebounds, and 5 assists, along with 3 steals, and now you're putting in front of him B-Ball Paul or DeAndre Jordan? Yeah, that could be nasty. And I think we should expect a lot of pick and rolls. He did it well in the first round, and his ability to hesitate on this play where he keeps Okongwu off balance before then finishing with the reverse layup. And also, here's just a little thing that Kyle Lowry does. He brings DeAndre Hunter out of the way and allows Jimmy Butler to make that layup. These kind of plays that Lowry and Tucker consistently make on offense and defense can go unnoticed, but they're the kind of plays that open up the floor or make big differences. I think another guy that needs to be aggressive with Embiid being out is Bam Adebayo. Here on this play in the pick and roll, Capella commits to Jimmy Butler, which allows a slip pass, and Adebayo finishes with a nice soft touch. Bam has not been great offensively the last 2 series, but now up against B-Ball Paul or DeAndre Jordan or either of those guys or an undersized team, there really is no excuse for Bam to not be averaging 20 points a game, to not be aggressive, to not shoot the mid-range, to not attack the rim, to not do what we know he can do, and he has done in both the regular season and in the playoffs. He just needs to be aggressive. The other crucial part for this offense is going to be taking advantage of the 2 guards in Tyrese Maxey and James Harden. This is what the Raptors did, and this is where the X factor of Oladipo could be huge. Because if there's anything to take out of the 2 games Oladipo played, that burst of speed is definitely still there. Here's Max Strus setting a screen. Oladipo hits Hunter with a little hesitation before a nasty crossover, and he gets downhill at speed. Now this move in isolation might not seem impressive, but it was actually set up from earlier plays in the game where he used the screen on 2 occasions to get downhill and then faked out DeAndre Hunter on that 3rd occasion, just showing the savviness he still has combined with the ability. Another huge part of Oladipo's game as well was his transition scoring. And if you remember what Kevin Durant said in an interview a few months ago when they did smash Philadelphia, he said this is a team that you can get out and beat in transition. The Raptors look to do that as well, and I think the Heat can do that with Butler, Adebayo, Oladipo, and these guys that are fantastic transition players. So I think that is going to be crucial. Victor Oladipo is going to be the X factor in this series in my opinion, with his ability to take advantage of Tyrese Maxey and James Harden off the dribble. Matisse Thybulle is likely to take Jimmy Butler. That's going to leave Oladipo as a crucial player in this series. Drop a like if you enjoyed the video, it helps a ton. Subscribe if you're new. Have a great day. Thanks very much.